It's Monday, June 22nd, 2020. I hope everybody's having a really good day. So much happening right here in the United States of America. I really hope everybody watching this video today is really waking up, preparing, and getting ready for the worst economic collapse in U.S. history. Many people believe we are coming out of a collapse. No, we are just beginning to head in to the worst economic collapse we have ever seen. While I was out today, I was in downtown Palm Springs and some other parts of the desert. And just over the last couple of days, I've seen more store closures, more restaurant closures. This afternoon, when I was in downtown Palm Springs, there was a jewelry store that had been down there for a number of years. Building is for lease. They are gone. Sushi restaurant out in the Palm Desert, La Quinta area, higher end restaurant for lease. They're gone. The tire store by my house, gone. The Ethan Allen, one of the Ethan Allen furniture stores out here, I believe that's Rancho Mirage, might be Palm Desert. One of the Ethan Allens, there's I believe a couple of them out here, closed up, vacant. And it just seems literally on a daily basis, I'm either seeing a restaurant close or a retailer closing. And the number of for sale and for lease signs out here on commercial real estate, it is pouring with vacancies, pouring down rain of vacancies here in the desert. But don't worry, everything is okay. The Dow Jones was up 153 points today, while 47.5 million people go jobless in America. I also want to remind you, please come over to my Patreon channel. I'm going to be putting up, I'm going to try to do 2 videos this week. And I want to talk about the surge in crime we are beginning to see here in America and just things we can do to prepare all the way around. Just different facets of preparation for survival, whether that be security, food, water, just things we need to be thinking about as we are going into survival mode. Look, if you are not getting in survival mode right now, you are in the matrix and you need to get out of the matrix. So if you get a chance, come over to my Patreon page. I'll be doing a couple videos this week. I'll have a little more freedom to openly talk on that platform and just share with you my preparations and my thoughts on what we're seeing take place in America. I want to talk today about an article that was on The Hedge. It's titled 30% of Americans didn't make their housing payment in June. And again, Dow Jones up 153 points today. There are millions of people out there who believe everything is okay, believe things are actually improving when they're doing quite the opposite. Again, people believe we are coming out of a collapse. We're just beginning this collapse. We have not seen anything yet. And this is why I am passionate about waking people up, why I reinforce this message with every one of you. Look, 98% of you watching this video know exactly what I'm talking about. Many of you better prepared than me, much wiser, much more intelligent when it comes to preparations. And that's why I must remind everybody, read the comments down below. You don't have to listen to me. I'm just a guy that puts out a video, a guy that speaks out loud, thinks out loud, just shares my opinion, sharing with you what's happening in my part of the country. If you really want to know what's happening, read the comments down below from people all over the country, people from all over the world, sharing, telling you what's really happening in America. People who are losing jobs, family members who've lost jobs, just companies that have gone out of business, manufacturers who've gone out of business, people who haven't even gotten a stimulus check, people who are struggling to get an unemployment check, people sharing with you and I what is really happening. Some people will tell you things are okay in their area, and many people will tell you things are not. And I appreciate everybody who is sharing their story, whether it's good or bad or somewhere in the middle. We need to know what's really happening because the television isn't telling us the truth. But the people down below in the comments, the people who watch this show, They're the ones who are telling the truth. Their reality, not the stock market, not Wall Street, not the television. The people watching this channel and commenting down below are the people telling you and I the truth. So let's talk about this article. 30% of Americans didn't make their housing payment in June. And yet there are people telling me that the housing market's going to come roaring back, that everything's going to be fine, that we're going to see record sales in housing. Give me a break. You know, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure this out, connect the dots. Use a little bit of common sense here. 24% didn't pay their housing in April. 31% didn't pay their housing in May, and 30% didn't pay their housing in June. 1/3 of the 30% in June made a partial payment. The rest made no payment at all. That could be rent, that could be a lease, that could be a mortgage payment on a home. Missed payments are the highest for renters. 32% of renters missed a payment. Missed payments for mortgage homeowners hit 29%. Think about that. And unfortunately, the truth of the matter is this. Many of these people, not all, but many of these people are not going to be returning to a job. And this is when we are going to begin to see very, very big trouble in the housing market. We have nearly 5 million people in forbearance right now. Let's just say half of those people don't return to work. What if they get a wage cut? What if their husband or wife doesn't return to work? Now it's a single income. They are not going to be able to make it. A lot of people right now are using credit cards just to get by. They are acquiring a lot of debt. And then they're expected to make up 3 or 4 house payments within 6 months or a year when they can't even make the house payments that they owe right now. This is just kicking the can down the road. The inevitable is coming, ladies and gentlemen, and this is why I say you got to be small, you got to be agile, you got to have the least amount of debt possible. You've got to be ready to turn with this economy, maneuver with this economy. If you're too big, if you're weighted down with too much debt, you're not going to be able to move fast. This economy is going to be moving extremely fast in different directions. And if you're just loaded with debt, if you're heavy with debt, and you can't move and turn with this economy, you're going to be in very big trouble. This is the time to be small. 1/3 of renters are concerned that they will be served with an eviction notice in the coming 6 months. What does that do for consumer confidence? You think these people are going to go out and spend money at the malls? You think they're going to go spend money and buy clothes and buy electronics? Some of them will, because they're just that conditioned to consume debt. And they're going to get themselves into very serious trouble here. And again, these are the people who laughed at you and I when we talked years ago about preparing, about saving money, about owning assets, about not trying to look rich, going broke to look rich. So many people that you know and I know that went broke trying to look rich on social media. Gotta wear the shoes, gotta have the leased car, gotta have the house with 4 extra bedrooms that they'll never use, gotta eat the $300 dinners at Mastro's, gotta show you the $100 champagne bottles, all acquired with a credit card. These people now are in panic mode. And these are going to be the victims of this economic disaster because they have absolutely no preparations. While you were taking the time to prepare, while you were living small, living maybe in a 1-bedroom, when you could have been living in a 3-bedroom. You were driving a beat up $3,000 car when maybe you could have been driving a $30,000 car. You made sacrifices because you knew what was coming. These people laughed, criticized you, joked about you, made fun of you. Now these are the people in very, very big trouble. You notice how they're disappearing from social media? I see less people sharing the champagne bottles, the expensive dinners, the new wardrobes, the cars. I see a lot less of that because these people are going to be obsolete. These people are disappearing. These are the people now that are moving in with their kids, moving in with their family members. 8 people in a house. The standard of living in America is changing right before your very eyes. When I drive around the area, different areas out here in Riverside County, I'm blown away with how many cars you can park in front of a house. I mean, it is not uncommon to see 5, 6, 7, 8 cars now in a driveway, parked out on the street. This is what people are having to do. You're watching the tide turn right now. This economy is slowing down and there is no going back. We are past the point of no return. We've been told by our friends, our politicians, by the economists, by the professionals on the financial shows that this economy would be regaining huge amounts of jobs by now. Instead, the job losses continue, and we're probably going to see another huge jobless number come out this Thursday, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's over 1 million. Last Thursday, I think we're at 1.54 million job losses. So the job losses continue to be catastrophic and unlike anything we have ever seen in U.S. history. And we are continuing to hemorrhage job losses in America. So what is this going to do for housing? Who's going to be able to buy a house when you have nearly 50 million people jobless in America, people getting wage cuts, people having to work 2, 3, 4 jobs just to make ends meet, people acquiring massive amounts of debt? Who are going to be the buyers? And then think about the people right now in forbearance, people who are getting behind. They're going to have to sell. And if they wait too long and this housing bubble begins to burst, these people are going to be in very big trouble. They're going to be defaulting. We're going to see people defaulting by the millions on homes in America. This market is going to be flooded. The inventory right now, and I'm not talking about California or Southern California, this is nationally. We are beginning to see a slowdown. We're seeing more inventory. We're even seeing prices coming down a little bit. Homes are staying on the market longer. But again, inventory is picking up. But what is going to happen when millions of people in forbearance figure out they're not going to be able to pay their loans back? What's going to happen with all these people, all these millions of people with these Airbnb homes who cannot rent these homes out now? People are too scared to go out. They're too broke to rent a house for a weekend or a week. And so the individual who has 10 homes that he is Airbnb-ing, what do you think this individual is going to have to do if that business dries up? These homes are all going to go on the market. I believe, and this is just my opinion, that this is one of the biggest housing bubbles of all time. And I believe we are going to see the worst housing crash in American history. I may be wrong, but I also may be right. But I'm connecting the dots here. And what I'm connecting does not look good. Article right here on wolfstreet.com. Home sales plunge most since 2008. Again, this is indicating to me that we have got some very, very big trouble here. Sales of existing homes. These are closed transactions of single-family homes, townhomes, condos, and co-ops. Sales of these properties plunged 29% in May compared to May a year ago. Sales of single-family homes plunged. Just when we talk about single-family homes, sales have plunged 24.8% year over year. Sales of condos and co-ops collapsed by 41.1% year over year. And I'm being told that we're going to have a V-shaped recovery. I'm being told don't worry. I'm being told don't be negative. This is doom and gloom. No, ladies and gentlemen, what this is a collapse. What this is something you better be preparing for right now. This is no time to be complacent. This is the time to hunker down, get in survival mode, and make sure that you're doing whatever you have to do to protect yourself and your family. The housing market is beginning to show massive signs of trouble. Millions of homeowners have entered forbearance agreements with their lenders. This is going to turn out to be a mess for those who have not found a job. Remember, the forbearances are going to expire. We're going to begin to see big trouble heading into this winter. 47 million jobless. Again, who would be buying a house? And I have to ask this question: who in their right mind would even consider buying a house right now. Think about it. We have an election coming up. We have a society that is completely divided. We have an economy that has entered a depression. We have a complete fraudulent Ponzi scheme stock market. The list goes on, and there's no denying what I'm seeing. And obviously, I try to read as many comments as I can, and many of you are experiencing the same thing in your areas that I'm experiencing right here in Southern California. Some of your areas are even worse than mine. And again, this is the beginning. It's going to get much worse. I want to close with this. Rob Kiyosaki, I read an article with him today, and he said this: you must wake up. No one is coming to save you. No bank is going to save you. No government is going to save you. No president is going to save you. Get out of the matrix, get out of the system, and save yourself. And I think that is excellent advice. I love Rob Kiyosaki, very, very smart man. And again, this is the time you need to be your own central bank. And I want to tell you one thing. As I say central bank, I went to the bank today. My bank was closed. There was a piece of paper stuck to the window saying, "We are temporarily closed." This is a big bank. I'm not going to mention the name of it. Very, very big bank, big chain. And it was closed with a piece of paper with a magic marker, scotch tape to the door. Sorry, temporarily closed. Didn't say when they're going to open. Didn't say why they're temporarily closed. And, you know, I had to go to a different bank. But the moral of the story is this: what happens if one day you go to your bank and they're closed and they're not going to be opening anytime soon? You go to your ATM, closed, not working. Just think about what you would do. Just think about how dependent we are on the financial institutions, the banks. And what if something happened? What if? And you had no access to your money? What would you do? What would you do? Think about that. Most people are dependent on the system. They don't see the cash. They don't see the cash heist that is taking place. The wealth transfer, the biggest the world has ever seen. They don't see this taking place. They don't know what's happening. 98% of you know all too well what is happening. You are witnessing the cash heist. You are witnessing the wealth transfer begin. People are being fooled into being slaves. The masses are going to be debt slaves. Many of them already are. And when this wealth transfer takes place, when millions of people lose their homes, lose everything they've invested in their 401ks, the money in their pensions, the stocks, maybe even their purchasing power with their US dollar, as it is going to be flown into hyperinflation. People are giving up freedom for wealth. If you want freedom, get out of the system. God bless every one of you.